So hello guys and welcome back to Excelsior Academy. Today we are going to do lecture 16 of plant tissue culture and the techniques as part of IIT JAM and GATB syllabus. So today we are going to talk about growth regulators, phytohormones, of which among the 5 we are going to discuss about the auxin today. Okay, so coming to the classification, like before we proceed with the auxins, we have already discussed in the previous lecture about that what are the different types of phytohormones present. Okay, so in this we are going to talk like we have got the growth promoters. Okay, it is promoters, auxins, cytokinins and gibberellins, and growth inhibitors we have ethylene, abscisic acid and jasminic acid. Guys, please remember because these two categories are really very important as with respect to the exam point of view. Okay, so these are the again same thing. So we have auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins. So we are going to talk about here about the first the growth promoters. Okay, so we know that auxins. Now coming to the auxins, auxins are going to stimulate your cell, stimulate cell elongation. Okay, and gibberellins, it elongates the internode. So if you see the figure over here, so we have got the, suppose this is a plant. Okay, and we have got the like this we have got the internodes. So it is going to increase the distance between the internodes with the help of the gibberellins, and then we have got the cytokinins which helps in the cell division. So auxins both natural and synthetic we have. Again cytokinins both natural and synthetic we have. The synthetic means it is being developed in the industry using the organic chemistry. So we have here indole acetic acid, 2,4-D, adenine zeatin and carnitine benzyl adenine. So these are the structures over here. You can see the structure of indole 3-acetic acid. We have IAA, IBA, then we have 4-chloroindole 3-acetic acid and then the 2-phenyl acetic acid. Now coming to the synthetic auxins, we have 2,4-D, that is 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid, then naphthalene acetic acid. So like that we have got many other synthetic auxins. So in this section we are going to talk only about the auxins, and the upcoming lectures will be based on the different growth hormones. So auxins. So auxins show a strong influence over process such as cell growth expansions, cell wall acidification, initiation of cell division, organization of meristem giving rise to either callus or the defined organs. So if you remember from the previous lecture, we always talk about the callus formation, and if you want to have a regenerated like from the callus, if you want to have the entire whole plant, so we always said that you need to add a good or sufficient amount of auxin as well as cytokinin, okay, in order to get the complete whole plant. Now in organized tissue, auxin causes root formation. So with the help of the auxins we'll get the roots, with the help of the cytokinins we'll get the shoot. So like this we get the entire plant. Now in the organized tissue, auxin cause root formation, delay in leaf senescence, fruit ripening, and also it is used in the embryogenesis. So there are two pathways by which auxins can be synthesized. So first one is tryptophan dependent pathway. So guys, you need to remember that this is one of the aromatic amino acid, right? Aromatic amino acid. So tryptophan is used. Also remember that for tryptophan, it gets excited at 295 nanometer wavelength. Okay, so there are different pathways depending on the tryptophan. So इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? It means that tryptophan is acting as the precursor or the initial material. So we have got IPA, TAM, ion and Pachyl pathway. Then we also have tryptophan independent pathway. Okay, so let's discuss about the tryptophan dependent pathway. So in 1935, Thiemann demonstrated that a fungus Rhizopus suinus could convert amino acid tryptophan into indole 3-acetic acid. Now this can be done by different pathways. So these three different pathways are there which we are going to discuss. So this is the flow chart. So this is the flow chart of here. So the biosynthesis of auxin. So let's talk about the tryptophan over here. Okay. So first one is your IPA pathway. That is your indole 3-pyruvic acid pathway. This is the most important pathway. Let me use the another highlighter. Yeah. So we have got the tryptophan. Then remember tryptophan transaminase. Okay. So your amino group is being changed over here to the keto group. So that becomes indole 3 pyruvic acid. Okay. Then IPA, that is indole 3 pyruvic acid decarboxylase. It means what? A removal of CO2 group. So this group has been removed. That becomes your indole 3 acetaldehyde. Then dehydrogenase, right? So dehydrogenation is happening. So that is the addition of hydrogen. So then what you get is indole 3 acetic acid. So how many enzymes were required here in this IPA pathway? 3 enzymes. So tryptophan transaminase, decarboxylase and dehydrogenase. Guys, you need to remember this, okay? That's why I'm repeating again and again. Okay. Now, coming to the IAN pathway. So, from the tryptophan directly with the help of the tryptophan monooxygenase enzyme, you get indole 3 acetylcysteine. Right? After that, it gives you indole 3 acetonitrile, and that is why it is called IAN pathway. And with the help of the nitrilase, you get indole 3 acetic acid. So, this is your first pathway. The second pathway, which is again from tryptophan, giving you the indole 3 acetic acid. Okay. Now, what were the enzymes over here? Tryptophan, monooxygenase, and then nitrilase. Now, coming to the IAM pathway, the bacterial pathway. So, directly from the tryptophan, it will get converted to indole 3 acetamide, and with the help of hydrolase, it will go to IAA. Okay, this is the third pathway. Now, coming to the fourth, the TAM pathway. TAM means it is going to become tryptamine with the help of the tryptophan decarboxylase. So directly if you have got the tryptophan decarboxylase will give you tryptamine. From tryptamine it will give you amine oxidase will give you indole 3 acetaldehyde. So guys, either you can study like this or you can make different flow charts so that you can remember the names of the enzymes. And guys, these names of the enzymes are important because this will tell you which pathway is being followed. Okay. So these are the 3 different pathways, and this pathway happens in the bacterial in the bacteria. Okay. Now coming to the tryptophan independent pathway. So experimental evidences for the existence of tryptophan independent pathways of IAA biosynthesis is higher in plants have been obtained from the mutants of maize and Arabidopsis. Okay. तो इसका क्या मतलब हो रहा है? So if you want to confirm that the IAA has been synthesized, so the mutants were made in the maize and Arabidopsis, that is belonging to the family Brassicaceae. So over there, they have made the mutants, and they found that still there was a synthesis of indole 3 acetic acid without the help of the tryptophan. Okay. Now, the branch point for biosynthesis of IAA may be either indole or indole 3 glycerol phosphate with IAN or IBA as the possible intermediate. So this is what we are going to talk about here. That is this pathway or this pathway, the IPA pathway or the IAN pathway. Now, mechanism action of auxin. So, it causes wide range of physical effects in plants. So, in this session, we are going to talk about these effects in detail. Okay. So, some of these effects such as cell elongation in shoot occur in minutes in response to auxin, while others such as abscission occur in days in response to auxin treatment. Now, these studies have been done on the excised sections of the dicot stem, such as either they have taken the hypocotyle region or the epicotyle region. Now, and coleoptile such as oat and maize coleoptile. So, they study the mechanism of auxin with the help of this coleoptile. Now, in recent years, they have also used the entire plant. Instead of using the coleoptile, they have also used the entire mutant plants they have used in order to study. Now, what are the target size? So, this is important point. So, what are the target sites of auxin action? It is in the dicot stems. They are the outer tissue including the epidermis and the outer cortex. So, आपको कहाँ पे apply करना है auxin? That is the epidermis and the outer cortex in the case of dicot stems. Okay, and in coleoptile, all non-vascular tissues like epidermis, mesophyll are responsive to auxin treatment. So, this is one of the slides which you need to remember. Now let's talk about how exactly the auxin is actually showing its action or having the physiological effects. So that is because the protein called auxin binding receptor. Okay, so there is a possible auxin binding receptor protein which has been identified in plants, and it is called auxin binding protein 1. So here you can see in the diagram itself. So in the diagram itself you can see 1 and 2. So it's a dimer actually of about 22 kilodalton each. So total around 44 kilodalton it will be, and it is present in the lumen of the ER, that is your endoplasmic reticulum. Now, so minimum lag time for auxin-induced growth is 10 minutes. So what does it mean? It means that it will take around 10 minutes to show the effect of the auxin. So when coleoptile or stem sections are excised and placed in sensitive growth measuring device, the growth response to auxin can be measured with high degree precision. So if suppose auxin is absent, the growth rate declines rapidly. Now, addition of auxin stimulates the growth rate. So, you can see that there is an increase in the growth rate, but you will see a lag period of only 10 to 12 minutes only. Now, in both types of tissues, the maximum growth is attained after half an hour to 1 hour of auxin treatment. So, again, this is important slide. So, you can say that the lag time taken by the auxin treatment is around only 10 to 12 minutes only. Now, the physiological effect. So, it causes rapid increase in the cell wall extensibility. That is by increasing the osmotic uptake of water across the plasma membrane. So, which will result in the increased turgor pressure. And this, with the increase in the turgor pressure, there will be extension of the cell wall. See, if you have got the cell wall like this, and osmotic pressure is going to have its effect on the walls of the cell wall, right? Now, because of this turgor pressure, what will happen? It is going to force the cell to get extended, okay, and all this is happening because of the treatment of the auxin. So it is generally believed that oxygen causes an increase in the plastic extensibility of the cell wall by wall losing events that require continuous input of metabolic energy. So this will be more clear in the upcoming slide. Okay, so auxin induced proton extrusion acidifies the cell wall, resulting in wall losing the acid growth hypothesis. So just now we talked about that the auxin is having the cell wall extensibility effect. Now how it is being done? With the help of the auxin induced proton pump. Okay, so this is just in a hypothesis also. Rael and Cleland in USA and Hager, Menzel and Toss in Germany first proposed independently that protons may be involved in auxin-induced cell wall loosening. So because auxin causes responses cells to extrudate protons actively from the cytoplasm to cell wall, resulting in decrease of the cell wall pH. So what is happening? You are actually pumping out the H plus from the cytoplasm to the cell wall. Okay. So now what will happen? Since in the cell wall there is an increase in the concentration of H plus, it means what? The pH level is going down. Now, the law apoplastic pH activates cell wall loosening enzymes which break the load bearing bond, thus increasing the extensibility of the cell wall, and the extrusion of the protons is facilitated by H plus ATPs located in the plasma membrane. So, what exactly they're saying is that you have got the cell over here. So, from the cytoplasm, okay, the H plus are pumped into the cell wall. Now, since in the cell wall, the H plus concentration has increased, so the pH has been decreased. Now, the decreased pH is going to activate the enzymes. Now, these enzymes are going to act on the celluloses which are present on the cell wall to help in the loosening of that area. Now, this loosening of the cell wall will result in the cell wall extension. I hope this is clear to all the guys, okay? If not, please let me also know. So don't worry, because with the upcoming slides, the figures are there. So with the help of the figure, it will be more clear. Now what is happening? So what is happening now? Since the acid has been increased, that is the pH has been decreased. Okay, so that is going to activate the proteins, for example, called expansions. Okay. So these hydrolytic enzymes such as celluloses, hemicelluloses and pectinases were considered, as well as the losing enzymes. They get activated with the in the presence of the lower pH. Now this low pH is because of the auxin. Okay. Now these enzymes loosen the cell wall. The auxin induced growth is reversible with the metabolic inhibitors. So what will happen? Since auxin was present, pH was decreased, enzymes got activated, that resulted in the cell wall loosening. Okay, now when cell wall got loosened, it got extended. Okay, so let's see the figure over here. So normally the cell is like this. Okay, this is how the normal cell is looking, let us say that. Now what is happening, since auxin induced H plus pump gets activated, so from the cytoplasm the H plus are pumped into the cell wall. Now in the cell wall the enzymes or the proteins called expansins gets activated, which is going to help in the loosening of the celluloses which is present in the cell wall. Now because of this, what will happen, the compact structure becomes loosened, and during this loosening there is an increase in the water uptake into the vacuole. Now that is putting the pressure, the turgor pressure on the cell wall, and finally the cell gets extended. You can see that from this much small size it is going to get increased to the higher. Another figure, same concept. So you have got the plant, auxin induced H plus pump gets activated, it goes into the cell wall, enzymes gets activated, and the proteins, the expansions are activated. So the cell wall fibers like cellulose gets actually activated. Now because of this, what will happen, there will be more intake of the water into the vacuole of the plant. Now, when there is an increase in the water uptake, what will happen? There will be increase of the turgor pressure on the cell walls. Now, when there is increase in the cell wall, the cell wall gets extended, and this is how it helps in the cell wall elongation. So, guys, those are really very important concepts. Please listen again and again if you're not able to understand, because really it is very important with respect to your exam point of view. Now, coming to the next topic, the auxin maintains the capacity for acid-induced wall loosening by synthesis of new wall polysaccharides. Now, of course, see, whenever small things are there and when it gets extended, it means what? New cell wall has been synthesized. That's how it gets increased in the size. Okay. A constant supply of new cell wall materials will be provided in response to the auxins, and cell walls of sections treated with auxins have greater capacity for acid-stimulated growth than those of the control, as they have done with the help of the fungal phytotoxin fusocosin. Okay, so this is very important, again a point to remember. Okay, yeah, so here you can see it's the same thing we were talking about. Again, auxin induced H plus is getting activated. It is going to increase the pH of the cell wall, and finally the cell wall is getting the expansions gets activated. It is going to loosen the cell wall, and when this, there is also an increase in the cell wall property, right? Cell wall material. So finally the size of the cell is going to get increased. In order to understand the entire this slide, you can go through over here. Everything has been explained beautifully. Okay, but the concept remains the same, which we have already discussed. Okay, coming to the physiological effects of auxins. So this is what we are going to discuss now. So already we know the presence of auxin is going to increase the cell length or the cell elongation. It also shows the apical domination, root initiation, prevention of abscission, parthenocapy, respiration, callus formation, and vascular differentiation. So each physiological effects we'll discuss in detail now. Okay. Sorry for this. 1 second. Okay, so cell elongation. So the primary physiological effect of auxin is cell elongation. So already we have discussed. So it is also a very common example of this can be observed in, that is the phototrophic curvature, where the unilateral light unequally distributes the auxin in the stem. So you can see that, suppose your tip is present like this. If you get the straight directly the sunlight, it is going to move like this. Now the auxin molecules are there. If suppose you get the sunlight in this direction, so this direction becomes the shaded part, right? So the auxin molecules gets on the shaded part, illuminated on the side. Okay, so that is why the elongation will happen like this then. So that's why it shows the curvature in the structure. So there are many theories which has been proposed to explain the mechanism of cell elongation, probably that is by reducing the cell wall pressure, or by increasing the permeability of the water into the cells, or by increasing the cell wall synthesis rate, and then inducing the synthesis of RNA and proteins, which turn lead to an increase in cell wall plasticity and extension. So these are the few ways by which they think that the cell wall is being elongated. Now, apical dominance. So apical or terminal buds of many vascular plants are very active, while the lateral buds remain inactive. So if you remove the apical buds, so what will happen then? if in a plant, if you're going to remove the apical buds, so it is going to promote the lateral buds. So iska, what does it mean? See, if any plant is there, okay, if this is the apical portion, so if you cut this portion, what will happen? Then there will be lateral buds formation will be there. So it is not going to increase in the length like this, but lateral many leaves will be formed. Okay. Now, the apical dominance is due to much higher auxin content in the apical buds than the lateral buds. So, when there is a apical portion removed, so that auxin distribution is again to the lateral regions, and that's why then it starts spreading in the lateral way. So, Skoog and Thiemann first pointed out that apical dominance might be under the control of auxin produced at the terminal bud, which is transported downward through the stem to the lateral buds and hinders their growth. So that's why when you remove the apical portion, it goes into the lateral portion. So they remove the apical bud of the broadened bean plant and replace it with the agar block. So what then they saw? They saw that there was a rapid growth in the lateral buds. So when they replace this apical bud with the agar block containing the auxin lateral bud, again it suppresses and did not grow. So what they showed, first here there was the apical. So this was growing. They again removed and placed it with the agar. So what happened then? The lateral region started growing. Now the agar along with the auxin they placed. So then what happened? The lateral stopped and then apical region started growing. Okay. So it is now generally held that inhibitory effect of auxin from shoot apex on the lateral bud is not direct but indirect, possibly through the involvement of other hormones such as cytokinins and abscisic acid. Okay, so from this figure, it will be very clear that auxin transport induces apical dominance. So in the apical region, you can see that there is a high concentration of auxin. So that's why it is growing. Now, if you remove the apical region, suppose this region has been cut, so you can see the lateral buds, these sidewise, they start growing. Now, if you keep the auxin, okay, it is applied to this particular apical portion removed. If you provide it again, it will start growing. So you can see auxin transport inhibitor applied allows lateral buds to grow. Either you can use directly, either you can remove or you can apply the inhibitor of the auxin. In both the cases, the lateral regions or the lateral buds will start growing. This is again another figure. You can see that the apical portion is growing, right? So because it is highly concentrated over here. Now, if you remove this portion, like how it has been cut over here, so you can see that the auxin gets to the lateral region and it starts growing over here and here. Okay. So this is one of the physiological effects. Now coming to the root initiation. In contrast to the stem, the higher concentration of auxin inhibits the elongation of root, but the number of lateral branch roots is considerably increased. That is, higher the concentration of auxin, more root or more lateral roots will be formed. Similarly, application of IA-lanolin paste, that is the inhibitor, to the cut end of the young stem results in the early and extensive rooting. So this fact is of great importance that has been widely utilized to promote root formation. Natural auxins have controlling influence on the abscission of the leaves, fruit, etc. Now coming to the parthenocarpy. So what is the parthenocarpy? That is, they don't have seeds. The fruits which are formed by this method, they don't have seeds. So in nature also, this phenomena is not uncommon. So you can see that the concentration of auxins in the ovaries has been found to be higher as compared to the ovaries of the plant which produces fruits only after fertilization. Okay, so in the later case, the concentration of auxin in ovaries increases only after pollination and fertilization. So here you can see that these are the regions, exocarp, mesocarp and endocarp. So what is happening? See, so you have got the female part to which when the pollens grow, what happens? It is going to form the pollen tube. It reaches inside, the pollination has started. Okay, now it is going to reach and fertilize. So that is how the normal seeds are formed. Now in this case, if suppose auxin responsive genes are there, if you have got the emasculation or low night temperature, it is going to activate your auxin responsive genes. Now these auxin responsive gene is going to change the interhormonal communication, which in the vascular connection, the auxin gets accumulated in the endocarp. So finally, instead of forming the seed over here, indirectly, the entire portion forms the fruit. And that's why you have got the fruits without the seeds. Now, It has also been established that auxin stimulates respiration, and there is a correlation between the auxin induced growth and the increased respiration. So it has been shown that the auxin may increase the rate of respiration indirectly through the increased supply of ADP. Now, what is ADP here? Adenosine diphosphate, by rapidly utilizing the ATP. Now, callus formations, already we have discussed that in the callus it is required so that you can have the root formation also. Last but not the least, the vascular difference. So, auxin also induces the vascular differentiation in the plant, and with the help of the many tissue culture experiments and the transgenic plants, this has been confirmed. So, cytokinins are also known to participate in differentiation of vascular tissue, and about the cytokinins we'll be discussing in the next upcoming lectures. So, till then, thank you guys for listening. If any doubts are there, please contact us and keep watching Excelsior Academy. If you haven't shared with your friends, please share and subscribe our channel. Thank you for listening.